Et bonjour YouTube, j'espère que vous allez bien, vous avez la forme. On se retrouve pour une nouvelle conférence, l'Access Ability Showcase, Summer Showcase. Le voici, c'est parti, je vais mettre en plein écran, c'est peut-être mieux. Voilà. Pourquoi j'ai le chat là? Hop, voilà. Hop, on est parti, première conférence, je suis avec Hugo.
And welcome to this year's Access Ability Summer Showcase 2024. I'm your host Laura. I'm a white woman with bright blue hair, shaved on one side, wearing a plain black dress.
Donc un showcase sur l'accessibilité dans les jeux vidéo. On va les développeurs qui vont nous montrer donc, tout ce qu'ils mettent en place pour que le maximum de gens puissent en profiter.
While knowing upfront if they're likely to be accessible for them upon release. While not every single video game showcase today is going to be accessible for every single disabled gamer, the aim of the showcase is that wherever possible, there will be at least a couple of interesting games shown today that are going to be playable for you no matter who you are. If you'd benefit from audio description or sign language interpreter support, there are American Sign Language, British Sign Language, and audio described versions of the showcase available on youtube.com/LauraKBuzz.
Anglais, américain.
If you'd like to find most of this year's showcase titles
vraiment le
in a single
maximum
place,
puisse regarder
cette
conférence.
You can find it at the link on screen now. There you'll find this year's showcase titles to wishlist or purchase, alongside last year's showcase titles and a handful of demos.
Toutes les conférences.
This year's showcase doesn't have a
Si vous
sponsor.
voulez retrouver les jeux qui seront présentés dans cette conférence.
Summer Showcase, please consider supporting Access Ability at patreon.com/LauraKBuzz. Your support helps the Summer Showcase to exist.
C'est en train de dire qu'il y a un Patreon si vous voulez soutenir cette conférence.
Now,
c'est une conférence vraiment un petit peu indé, hein, vraiment c'est une toute petite conférence, donc n'hésitez pas à aller les aider. Et on enchaîne avec un premier jeu.
Upcoming retro-inspired bullet hell action platforming roguelike shooter from Night Shift Games and Playtonic Friends.
Et encore en salle sur de...
Elsie isn't just packed with hyphenated genre tags and technicolor action, however. The Night Shift team have been hard at work to provide a host of accessibility features to make Elsie as accessible as possible to anyone who wants to play.
Donc là c'est plus pour les...
If you just want to absorb the gorgeous style and play through the story, there's an invincibility mode, which might also come in handy if you're struggling against a particularly tricky boss fight. And to help you focus on the hyperkinetic on-screen action, there are modifiers to allow you to blur, saturate, or even turn off the backgrounds entirely. There are also options for adjusting the amount of screen shake you experience to help with this even further. Elsie is an incredibly colourful game, so it has options to assist those with colour vision deficiency too. Options for player outline and enemy outline also allow you to adjust the hue to your liking, to make sure the Technicolor action is as visible as possible. If you need assistance with reflex mechanics, there will also be an option to adjust the timing required to correctly hit a parry, as well as following up with counterattacks. So to recap, there's an invincibility, counter-attack timing adjustments, font size modifier.
Mais du coup, là pour le coup, en vrai, même en termes d'accessibilité, mettre un mode invincible, c'est vraiment cool, je trouve. Pour le coup.
Elsie is a love letter to retro action platformers of old, while packing in plenty of new elements to give the genre a modern twist. And we want as many people as possible to be able to enjoy the experience. Please consider wishlisting the game on Steam today if you like what you see, and stay tuned to the Night Shift and Playtonic socials for more info soon.
Elsie, on l'avait vu hier, hein, ça.
Hi everyone, I'm Ria. I am part of a two-person indie game studio based out of India called I Miss My Friends Studio. We're working on our first title, Fishbowl.
Oui, Playtonic, oui, on a dû le voir dans la deuxième partie. Ouais, bah c'est le premier qu'on a vu, non? La deuxième partie, il me semble.
You video call loved ones and have branching conversations with them in a clear sans serif font. You work from home as a junior video editor. Here you match snippets to the correct track as per color or icon. This game has no fail state, and no matter how you do, your colleagues will cheer you on and support you. You sort through puzzles to rediscover childhood memories. No time limits or penalties here. Take your time to go through all the sentimental objects Alo has received, whether it's through keyboard, mouse, or the controller. Do care tasks and get to know yourself better one day at a time. Currently, Fishbowl has few options to change the volume of sound effects and music, and also an option to turn off screen shake. We also make sure to have both visual and audio cues for important events. Take your time to notice them as there is no rush to respond. Our demo starts off with a content warning as it addresses and explores themes of grief, loss, loneliness, and isolation. We are a small team and we have a lot more to do before release. We are working on accessibility-specific settings like removing screen sway, turning off text effects and typing, providing a larger font size, an option to slow down video editing, and adding a way to skip the puzzles. We have a long way to go and we will try to do our best. We hope you will come along. Thank you.
Waco the Mask Gatherer is an exciting third-person adventure game developed by Zero Games. Immerse yourself in the role of Waco, a mysterious gecko embarking on a quest to collect the most powerful mask of his world. Explore diverse landscapes, from vibrant villages to dark forests. Each environment is carefully crafted to immerse players in a rich sensory experience, with ambient sounds everywhere, like bird songs, flowing water, and echoing footsteps on every surfaces, guiding your exploration. Our maps are thoughtfully designed to ensure clear auditory cues, allowing players to navigate with ease and fully immerse themselves in the world of Waco. Dive into a world full of quests and puzzles, from helping villagers to unraveling ancient mysteries. Our intuitive inventory systems make managing items a breeze, with color-coded references and clear icons, ensuring accessibilities for all players. And with the ability to customize sounds in the main menu, players can tailor the game to their preferences. Prepare for epic battles as you meet formidable enemies throughout your journey. Each mask grants unique abilities, empowering players to adapt their fighting styles and overcome challenges. And with distinct sounds for every enemy, player can rely on auditory cues to anticipate and react to threats, making the game accessible to all. We are committed to making gaming inclusive for everyone. That's why we are doing our best to develop a colorblind friendly game with carefully chosen color palette that ensure clarity and accessibility for all players. We invite you to embark on a memorable adventure where exploration, puzzles, and epic battles await. Join us and uncover the secrets of the whimsical world of Waco the Mask Gatherer.
Ça peut être grave intéressant ça pour le coup.
Ouais, même le sound design, apparemment ils ont vraiment mis le truc de manière principale pour que ce soit vraiment accessible comme ils le veulent quoi. Ça a l'air vraiment intéressant parce que là même tout le long le son il était vraiment bien fait.
When Kingdom Hearts 3 had just released, how excited I was to play the game. I had been a longtime fan of the series and was finally ready to experience the end of the trilogy. However, at this point in time, I was unaware of how bad my retinitis pigmentosa had gotten and just how much of my usable vision I really had lost. I can remember not only not being able to get through the first world, but just not knowing where I needed to go or what I needed to do to progress throughout the game. I will never forget how upset I was and how I ended up calling my mother and father, crying to them on the phone, and just telling them, hey, I think I have to give up on gaming. I think that because of my blindness, I can no longer keep gaming. And it was a pretty big thing for me because growing up, video games had been the best way for me to cope with losing my vision and just not being able to control what was going on in my life. I had all intentions to never play a video game again, and for the next 2 years, I kept true to that promise. I thought that I would go the rest of my life without playing another video game. But, you know, in 2021, my brother-in-law, he sent me a text telling me about a game called The Last of Us Part 2 and how I should check it out, which I thought was crazy because I remember being able to play the game, the first game that is, back when I had usable vision. And I was just thinking to myself, there's no way I'm going to be able to play the sequel due to my limited amount of vision. And boy, was I wrong. I could have not been any more wrong. And it was a welcome surprise for myself to boot up the game and realize that my vision wasn't the problem. It was that up until this point, games really just weren't being made to accommodate gamers like myself and so many others. If it wasn't for the work that Brandon Cole and Naughty Dog did on The Last of Us Part 2, I don't think I would ever have gotten back into gaming, and I can only imagine where my life would be right now if I didn't get back into gaming. I owe accessibility in gaming so much.
Hello, my name is Stefan Gagne, my pronouns are he, him, and I'm a physically disabled gamer. I run Fiction Factory Games, and we make character-driven narrative games such as Arcade Spirits The New Challengers, Penny Larceny, Gig Economy Supervillain, and our upcoming title, The Shadow over Cyberspace. Today, I'd like to demonstrate some of the accessibility technology that we've built into our games. I'll use our latest game, Penny Larceny, to demonstrate. In this comic book romantic comedy, you play as a criminal underling named Penny, working for various supervillains to help put food on the table. All of our games feature a self-voicing mode. Just tap the V key at any time to activate.
Self-voicing enabled.
In this mode, extra narration is used to describe imagery, and user interfaces are streamlined. Let's demonstrate with this scene where Penny, the woman in the black and white striped shirt and mask, is going out on a date with Farsight, the superheroine in the colorful but practical costume.
Farsight, I'm so glad we're finally able to talk outside of our day jobs. It's nice to get away from all that mask and cape stuff. Penny, absolutely. What's a good first date question?
The beeping sound lets players know that it's time to make a choice. Alright, let's see, what do we pick here?
What are her hobbies? Sewing, stamp collecting, virtual pet raising? Would she rather fight one horse-sized duck, or 100 duck-sized horses? Penny, I'd like to ask you an important question, one scholars and philosophers have wrestled with for generations. Penny, one horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses? Which do you fight? Farsight, oh, horse-sized duck. I actually fought him last week.
For sighted players, we have options to help customize the user interface to their needs. You can adjust fonts used by the game, picking between comic book style, a simplified font for easier readability, and the standard open dyslexia font. These changes carry through to user interfaces, dialog boxes, and more. Dialogue is colored to match the speaking character, or can be set to monochrome. You can also invert the text box to white. Lastly, I'd like to give a little sneak peek into our next game, The Shadow over Cyberspace, in which the mythos is retold.
Pour le reste, c'est souvent les manettes, les contrôleurs, etc. qui doivent être adaptés, mais ça, on va dire que avec la manette Xbox, il y a déjà beaucoup qui a été fait, tu vois. Je pense que c'est un peu difficile d'améliorer quelque chose. À mon avis, tu l'adaptes peut-être à différentes formes de nouvelles maladies qui peuvent arriver en réduisant la mobilité, tu vois. Et oui, je pense que l'audio et le visuel, c'est le principal, hein, je pense, sur lequel il travaille.
You get the same visuals, but they're a static picture and easier on the eyes. The game also makes use of video during sequences where you watch television. We use open captioning to ensure everyone can enjoy this part of the game, and when using self-voicing mode, additional visual narration is added.
Static gives way to the TV23 logo, WYGH-TV, Arkham, Innsmouth, Dunwich. A TV test pattern plays through static.
Here is a world of communication tailored for your needs of today and tomorrow, bringing together all people in a new era of understanding.
Two teenagers visit a 1950s World's Fair exhibit on telecommunications.
Moving forward, I'm hoping to ensure all our stories are as accessible as we can make them. Gaming should be for everyone. Thanks for your time. Have a good one.
Hello, I'm Lucy Blundell, the indie developer.
C'est bien du coup qui décrit comme ça, un peu comme les descriptions, comme les films.
On character development, friendship and love in the old school internet. As a disabled developer, I wanted to include positive disability representation in the story, but the game itself has many accessibility features that I'd like to share with you today. Videoverse can be controlled using mouse, keyboard, touchscreen, or controller. There are no button combos, no quick responses required, no strobe effects, and the game is generally low pressure. Navigation is also large and clear, with audio cues upon selection. Videoverse is made in RenPy, the visual novel engine, which already includes several accessibility features. There's self-voicing in separate volume bars for sound, music, and voice. The default font can be switched for a clear, easy-to-read font, and all fonts are large and high contrast. If you miss a thought or conversation, you can check the log to see what you may have missed. And when it comes time to saving, you can manually save at any point or use the autosave feature. Though there are some additional features too. There is a typing noise during chat conversations, which can be turned off in the preferences menu. Closed captions are also available, but audio is not required to play Videoverse. And since Videoverse covers heavy topics, such as depression, abuse, and neglect, there is also a content warning list that can be accessed. The default Videoverse theme is black and white, clear and high contrast. But there are many different colour themes, some of which are colourblind friendly, and these can be changed at any time. And on the pause menu, there is a tip button in the top left corner. Use this to get a hint if you ever feel stuck. If there's a feature missing that you'd like to see.
Oui, mais je pense que justement, si c'était pas en... J'étais en train d'y penser, justement, si tu laissais des couleurs comme ça, je pense que les trois quarts, je pense, ne jouent que... Ben, ça, c'est pour les daltoniens, du coup. Mais les personnes qui ont vraiment une vue basse, à mon avis, doivent jouer que en noir et blanc. Parce que, ben, avec des couleurs, genre même moi, qui suis pas malvoyant, tu vois, je trouve que l'écran est déjà très chargé, c'est dur au niveau du contraste. Je sais pas si tu vois ce que je veux dire.
RNIB design for every gamer shirt and a cap with my logo on it, which is two swords crossed over an eye, as well as over-ear headphones. And in the background behind me, you can see numerous items of gaming memorabilia, including what has lovingly been termed as a pop waffle, a display holding various pop vinyl figures from various franchises that I've accumulated, as well as a gold lancer from Gears of War 4, the replica of that iconic weapon. So, for those who don't know me, I am an award-winning, multi-credited accessibility consultant and content creator from the UK, as well as being the Accessible Gaming Officer for RNIB, that is Royal National Institute of Blind People, the UK-based sight loss charity. And crucially, I am a gamer without sight, having never had any sight whatsoever. Now, I'm here to talk about, once again, a genre that some might question how you would even make accessible for anyone with no vision to work with, and one that, from what I've heard, a fair number of people are interested in: city builders. Enter Cellular City, a puzzle game about building, well, tiny cities. When I first heard about this game, it sounded really intriguing to me, not just because of the wonderfully alliterative name, and the developer is keen to make this as accessible as possible. So I would highly recommend giving this a look if you're even remotely interested in something new and, in my case, relatively unfamiliar.
Je sais pas s'il y a des logiciels adaptés tout ça pour pouvoir dev.
Peut-être, et justement c'est peut-être aussi pour ça qu'il en parle là.
As well as, of course, its accessibility features. Here is Cellular City from developer Callum Deary.
This is Cellular City, a puzzle game about building tiny cities. Cellular City's primary mechanic is rules around neighbouring buildings. For example, you can't have a steel foundry next to a block of flats.
A3 is a flats. B3 is empty. B2 is empty. Foundry placed in B2.
On the other hand, some buildings like each other, like stations and flats.
C2 is a station. B2 is empty. Flats placed in B2.
It has text-to-speech and audio description of levels, with a focus on accessibility for blind and low-vision players. This includes settings to modify text-to-speech volume, rate, and voice, alongside keyboard and controller support.
Start building.
Level audio description starts automatically on level load, but can be re-prompted by the player at any time.
Describing city. A1 is empty, B1 is a rail, C1 is a rail, A2 is a hill, B2 is a mine, C2 is a station, A3 is empty, B3 is empty, C3 is a rail.
The player's movement around the level.
A2 is a hill.
It's also described, as are their actions on placing buildings.
A3 is empty. Flats placed in A3.
The player can also prompt inspections of buildings to find out more about them.
A flat's brutalist streets in the sky. Always controversial with neighbors near and far.
So if you're interested in a puzzle game about the tensions in a modern city, check out Cellular City's demo on itch.io.
Hi, I'm the developer of Upheaval, a text-based open-world roguelike adventure where you can explore the wilderness, search for magic treasures, and shift the balance of power for 30 in-game days before a powerful magician brings big changes to the world around you. Upheaval is turn-based, with no timed actions and no complex controls. All text is big, easy to read, and high contrast. The background can be disabled, turned to dark mode, or both. Upheaval is completely blind playable without sighted assistance. You can use your favorite screen reader in the command line version.
Abandoned tower, armory, 26 days left, early night, 5/6. The muffled sound of a nightbird can be heard outside. 1. Go up the stairs.
Bah,
No time.
déjà la map,
2.
ça avait un
Go down
problème,
the
je
stairs.
trouve.
No time. 3. Open the chest. No time. 4. Search this area. 1 time. Random. Time searched. 0. 5. Make camp. 2 time.
Or the customizable text-to-speech in the graphical version.
You're in abandoned tower, top floor. You're on the top floor of the tower. Stairs lead down to the floor below. Stone windows look out in all directions over the prairies. It's cold up here. The stone walls are sturdy around you. Press tab to highlight an option. Go down the stairs. No time. Look out over the prairies. 1 time. Search this area. 1 time. Success is random. Make camp. 2 time. This is the last option.
Volume levels can be adjusted separately for music, sound effects, ambient sound, and text-to-speech. Keyboard and controller inputs are both supported, and control remapping will be added before release. Difficulty levels can be adjusted either before or during each game. You can grant more in-game time, conjure items, teleport, use the rewind button planned before release, or any combination of these.
S'ils arrivent à rentrer dedans ou pas.
You can try the free demo of Upheaval on Steam today.
Ça m'a l'air quand même assez compliqué, et en plus, je sais pas si t'as vu, mais là, typiquement pour celui-là, la map, bah, tu peux pas lire la ville parce que c'est un tout petit, c'est en police assez déformée, etc. Et t'as aussi le text-to-speech, là j'ai vu, apparemment tu peux pas régler la vitesse, mais ça va à une vitesse. Après, je sais qu'ils sont habitués, j'avais vu une vidéo d'une personne avec un téléphone en text-to-speech, et ils sont habitués, genre ils entendent le premier truc, ils savent ce que c'est avec le temps, et ils passent, mais quand c'est un nouveau jeu. Celui-là, tu vois, je le trouve peut-être un peu chargé. Après, le problème c'est que on peut pas
dans ce cas-là. C'est compliqué aussi de trouver là, un juste milieu entre soit un jeu qui est un peu compliqué, tout ça, le jeu qu'on a vu juste avant en description là, où bah, je pense que tu joues 5 minutes et tu commences à te faire chier.
Ouais, c'est ça, mais après c'est le milieu que tu peux avoir, et encore, je trouve, au niveau des cases, bon après tu peux te faire ta propre image, etc. Tu vois, quand tu regardes B1, de 1 à C3, mais ça fait un peu bizarre, tu vois. Après, c'est parce que nous, on n'est pas habitués, hein.
Ouais, mais après, c'est...
Parce que la personne disait, qui était malvoyante, elle a pu jouer à la partie 2 du jeu. C'était Uncharted, il me semble.
To collect materials that will allow you to craft and upgrade your movement abilities, while doing this sort of non-linear exploration of a planet. It is a really unique game, trying some very interesting stuff in terms of how it presents its exploration cues. There is a demo available to play on itch.io if you search for Periphery Synthetic EP. The full game will be coming to Steam in summer of 2024.
Mais c'est vrai que là, quand tu regardes, c'est très bizarre. Ça fait un jeu méga chelou, quoi.
Ça, apparemment, de ce que j'ai compris, c'est un jeu principalement pour l'audio. Donc c'est pour ça que les graphismes c'est pas tant important que ça, tu vois.
Ah, c'est pas les graphismes.
Il me semble que t'es guidé par l'audio de ce qui
des millions de carrés, je fais des cauchemars de carrés.
Oui, c'est vrai que pour un journal ça fait bizarre, mais pour une personne qui est malvoyante, elle peut voir à peu près la montagne, c'est peut-être pour ça que c'est dans des carrés espacés comme ça, tu vois.
Ah ouais, non mais sûrement que du coup...
Et t'es guidé par le son, donc...
Tu dois avoir une perspective un peu différente du coup.
Et je pense que c'est aussi pour ça que c'est compliqué pour les gros développeurs de rendre leur jeu accessible, dans le sens... de rendre vraiment accessible, tu vois. C'est que, si tu vois que ça, par exemple, c'est une des possibilités de le rendre accessible, par exemple, avec un Call of Duty ou quelque chose comme ça, c'est hyper compliqué, voire impossible, tu vois.
Ah oui, t'es vite limité par... C'est pour ça que... il y a certaines catégories où t'es obligé de faire un jeu vraiment spécifique pour cette catégorie-là.
Voilà,
sinon
ouais,
c'est pas possible.
Faire un jeu à part.
Après, tu pourrais faire... Quand tu vois qu'il y a des gros jeux qui font par exemple tu vois, un mode vert, tu peux te dire qu'ils peuvent faire un mode, au lieu de faire un mode vert, ils font un mode malvoyant, un truc comme ça, tu vois.
Après, typiquement, un problème que je viens de voir, c'est que typiquement tout ce qui est jeu multijoueur, c'est malheureusement pour les personnes que ce soit malvoyantes ou malentendantes, c'est horrible du coup. Parce que ils peuvent jouer aucun jeu.
Ah bah en multi oui, c'est vrai.
Ouais, mais du coup ça te retire énormément de jeux, tu vois, parce que y a énormément de jeux en multi.
Après c'est pas leur but aussi, hein. Je pense que les gens qui sont malvoyants et tout, leur but c'est déjà de pouvoir jouer, et puis après, ils pensent même pas à ça, ils sont contents d'avoir un jeu déjà, je pense.
Tutorials use button glyphs for
la communauté a aidé.
And the game's default font uses a clean and readable sans serif typeface with user-defined sizing.
Ou ceux qui sont normales, tu leur mets un écran tout fou et tout.
And a button press confirms they've read everything.
Pour égaliser les chances.
And there are a selection of
non mais ça serait intéressant de jouer genre de peut-être pas dans un jeu mais dans des sortes de mini-événements où justement tu joues de leur manière etc. Sans tricher etc. pour te rendre compte de comment c'est. Je trouve que ça pourrait être des trucs qui sont bien.
Enfin, tu sais, t'as des accessoires qui existent pour simuler ce que ressentent les malvoyants, les malentendants, tout ça. T'as des trucs qui existent. Oui, ça pourrait. Alors sur un événement, oui, c'est plus facile. Du coup, tu forces les joueurs à mettre les équipements. Après, de chez soi, ouais, ce serait soit implanté directement dans le jeu, quoi.
Oui, et encore, c'est comme je disais, c'est pareil. Peut-être, oui.
Je pense que ce serait plus facile dans ce sens-là de downgrade les joueurs normaux que de chercher à changer le jeu pour s'adapter aux joueurs handicapés.
Et peut-être en faire juste un mode spécifique dans le jeu.
Ouais, c'est ça.
En gardant le jeu de base.
Après, est-ce que les joueurs normaux iront plus en mode entre amis, je pense? Parce que je pense que les joueurs normaux, ils iront pas instinctivement dans ce mode de jeu-là, quoi. Malheureusement.
C'est une bonne idée, tu vois, genre ouais, comme tu vois, tu parles en famille, ça permet qu'ils passent des moments en famille sur des trucs qu'ils aiment, tu vois.
Mais par contre, ouais, c'est ça. Ouais. Ça serait plus genre de la coop locale, quoi. Le mode coop local, donc il n'y aurait pas de en ligne, mais au moins tu peux jouer à plusieurs, quoi.
C'est ça.
Enemies and bosses have different damage scales, allowing you to
ouais, c'est ce qu'on a vu hier, ça qui avait l'air le slime.
Oui. Slime Heroes.
Slime Heroes, ouais.
Increase your own stamina
c'est PC.
You can extensively change your cursor for better contrast and visibility based on your preferences. There is also the ability to toggle on double jump for more control and distance in platforming sections. Timed puzzles can also be made longer so that you can have more time than you normally would to complete sections. You can outline your slime with either black or white to contrast the many colorful environments of the game for improved visibility. Enable visible hitboxes to allow you to see the exact movement of an attack or enemy, enabling you to be sure all of your attacks land as you eliminate even the most challenging corrupted enemies. This is just a sample of the things to come from Slime Heroes.
J'ai vraiment envie de tester, hein, sur la Miro.
In Magical Delicacy, you play as Flora, a young witch who's just moved to the harbor town of Grot to grow her magical abilities. In the game, you make new friends, discover new places, find the secrets, cook all sorts of delightful foods, and get entangled in an enchanting story. To help Flora traverse the city, there's an easy platforming option that disables disappearing platforms that would otherwise require precise timing or quick movements during puzzle or platforming areas. To improve visibility, there are also several high contrast options. You can highlight Flora's outline so she'll always stand out against her background. Additionally, you can darken the background so that the contrast can be even more visible. Beyond that, when having conversations with the mini characters of Magical Delicacy, there are even more accessibility options. You can disable any moving dialogue.
Je trouve que c'est bien. Je pense que c'est peut-être le type de jeu le plus propice justement à l'accessibilité.
And you can change the game's text to a
Bah
more
ouais, je
legible
pense que c'est le plus simple.
Parce que le text-to-speech il peut être vraiment bien. Genre si t'arrives dans une scène, dans une cinématique, tu peux décrire la pièce, puis après commencer le dialogue. Quand c'est en action en temps réel, c'est difficile de décrire.
Ah bah oui, c'est sûr.
De faire de la description sur ce qui se passe quoi.
Hi, I'm Zoe Reyes, the Usability and Accessibility Specialist at Whitethorn Games. I'm a woman with blue hair just past shoulder length, and a light pink t-shirt and wearing
tu peux jouer au jeu sans aucun bouton.
Making your games more accessible is a great goal to have, but sometimes it can feel daunting as an indie dev. To help you get started, I've got a starter kit of some features you can include to help you reach your goals. One of the easiest ways to get started is to take a look at developer tools or options. A lot of times they can be great accessibility options. Commands that reset the player, or give the player increased health or stamina, or more time to defeat a puzzle are all great ways to accommodate players who have reduced reaction time. By looking at the way you use your tools to test the game yourself, you can come up with surprising ways to help your players. Keep contrast in mind. This may sound rather simple, but checking how contrastive the player's view is may make the difference in making the game playable for someone with low vision or colorblindness. Double check your inputs. Things like repetitive inputs and button holds can be limiting for the player. Offering alternatives such as eliminating the need for quick button presses or the ability to toggle a sustained button press is always a great idea, and if you can, try including input remapping. Including subtitles is another great way to make your game more inclusive, especially if your game has a lot of spoken dialogue. A lot of times, you already have a script ready to go, too. You can even go a step further and add subtitles for non-dialogue sounds in your game, such as environmental sounds or sounds that guide hearing players to act. Sometimes game objectives can be unclear. Instances where things are conveyed by color only or sound alone are often very inaccessible. Try conveying information in multiple ways if you can. I hope those tips help you get started. Keep in mind, this is not an exhaustive list, but the good news is that there are loads of resources online from this amazing community. I recommend checking out the Games Accessibility Guidelines website, the Xbox Accessibility Guidelines, and the IGDA Games Accessibility SIG YouTube. Talking with other developers who are working on features to make their games more accessible is also one of the greatest resources we have. Our greatest strength is sharing the knowledge we gain with each other, because together we can make video games an even more inclusive space for everyone. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Milan Patel, also known as Patelsaur. I am an accessibility consultant and content creator, and I live with a disease called Duchenne muscular dystrophy. And I have been gaming pretty much my whole life, and that started getting difficult about 10 years ago. And this is at a time before
c'est cool qu'ils donnent des tips comme ça.
Implemented. So I kind of felt like I wasn't going to be able to game again anymore, or any longer in the future as well. But now, since accessibility is more widely implemented, and there are many more tools that you could use now, I am now able to play more games than I was before my physical difficulty started. So accessibility is something that's quite important to me, and it's really great to see that it's being more widely implemented and more people are starting to learn about it.
Hey everyone, I'm Kevin from Manavoid Entertainment, and today we're going to talk about some of the accessibility features in Rainbow Billy: The Curse of the Leviathan. Let's jump right into it. We've been asked how we made the game accessible for people with color blindness. Luckily, our technical director Alexis is actually colorblind himself, so in a game about recoloring the world of imagination, it was important to get this one right. That's why you'll always see symbols associated with colors. The 12 colors used to represent different emotions have all been given a symbol which is always present throughout the game. Items that you can interact with in the game are always animated and highlighted with color too. We used forced perspectives, which makes it easier to play with a single joystick. The camera also rotates automatically to help with puzzles and secrets. There's a lot to explore in Rainbow Billy, and we didn't want anyone to feel lost. That's why, whenever you board Friendship, the camera will always point to your current objective seamlessly. You can also find your current objective on your compass and map that you can access at any time. There is no time limit or fail state in Rainbow Billy. This is a conscious decision to avoid the pressure of being put on the spot or failing tasks because you didn't react in time, so you can try again as many times as you want. It was important to us that the level of difficulty in confrontations wouldn't affect the experience, so we added a difficulty slider. Lowering the difficulty doesn't change your strategy, it just gives you more leeway for errors by reducing damage taken. There's also a few options to tweak how dialogue is displayed. We've made dialogue fun to read with a lot of animations and effects. However, we know this can make the text harder to read for some people, so we've implemented the Open Dyslexic font, a dyslexia-friendly option to make it easier to read. You can also change the speed at which dialogue is displayed, and also change the character voices if you prefer more retro sounds, or none at all. Rainbow Billy the Curse of the Leviathan has so much more to offer. If you'd like to give it a try, head over to our Steam page and get ready to recolor the world. Thank you for your time and have a great day.
Rainbow Billy, the Curse of the Leviathan.
Rainbow Billy.
Et là, il y a l'air d'avoir vraiment beaucoup d'accessibilité pour le coup.
The folks behind Rainbow Billy, The Curse of the Leviathan have actually given us some Steam codes for the game to give away during today's Accessibility Summer Showcase. If you would like to be entered into a random draw to win one of 5 copies of Rainbow Billy, The Curse of the Leviathan, you can head over to @WeAreManavoid on Twitter and find the competition tweet. 5 people will win Steam codes for the game by responding to the tweet up on Manavoid's Twitter. You can enter between now and Sunday, June 9th at 11:59 PM Eastern Daylight Time, so you have about 2 days to respond to their tweet to get put in for a random drawing to maybe win a copy of Rainbow Billy, The Curse of the Leviathan. Enjoy, fingers crossed that you win. Let's get back to more games.
Welcome to Spaceboat, a narrative adventure filled with colorful worlds and wacky characters. Play as Inspector Domino, an undercover space cat detective, and track down an intergalactic jewel thief. Hi, my name is Luis Alonso, and I'm the game developer for Spaceboat. Since Spaceboat is a narrative adventure that is meant to be enjoyed by all, it was important to give it as many accessibility options as possible. What most people don't know is that I'm also a triple amputee, and one of the few disabled solo game devs that are out there, so I take accessibility seriously. Last year, we mentioned the work that was done to have a high contrast art direction for people with colorblindness, as well as having text for everything that was spoken or heard for people with hearing impairments. This year, we added a number of additional features. Spaceboat now has an options menu accessible at all times from within seconds of starting the game. We recently added single stick controls to reduce the need for multiple inputs. Although other buttons might be needed, this makes the majority of the game playable with one hand. Similarly, we added an auto run feature, which reduces the number of buttons that need to be pressed. Additionally, we added input sensitivity controls so that all players can fine-tune the game to their liking. Although we mentioned that we put a lot of work into providing a high contrast art direction, we felt it was a good idea to include colorblind shader modes. We know it's not a well-loved feature, but if it helps someone in the slightest, it's there. On Steam, we also added the ability to switch controls on demand. This means that if you're playing with a mouse and keyboard, you can switch to an Xbox controller at any time. As a person with a physical disability, I know it's handy to have as many inputs available to adjust to gameplay changes. Please note that these features are currently available in our demo, which can be found on Xbox, PlayStation, and Steam. If you think that Spacebook could benefit from further improvement, please contact us at contact@recombobulator.ca. Thank you from
Moi j'ai
everyone
l'impression
at
que ça m'a l'air quand même assez graphiquement très chargé et difficile à voir pour une personne malvoyante quoi. Parce que tu vois tous les petits détails des câbles etc. Même avec les filtres, je suis pas sûr qu'ils le voient réellement, tu vois.
We want our games to be inclusive and welcoming to all players, which is why we've implemented several accessibility features. For one, players can choose their own difficulty and even customize it further to match their needs. The Darkest Files also features mouse-only gameplay. This allows players to play the game just by clicking with one hand, making it accessible to those who use adaptive controllers as well. In addition to mouse-only gameplay, we've also made it easy for players to switch seamlessly between input devices, such as keyboard, mouse, or controller. Of course, their sensitivity can be adjusted as well. Since players work with documents while investigating, we are also very mindful of the readability of our fonts and texts and always offer a transcription. For dialogues, there are real-time subtitles available. While developing, we are in contact with testers with impairments and want to continue to learn about accessibility.
Hi everyone, Laura here again.
Okay.
Thank you so much for tuning into this year's Accessibility Summer Showcase. As a reminder, we have a Steam sale going for this year's showcase, so you can find most of this year's games all in one place on Steam if any of them caught your interest. We've got one final trailer for you before we wrap up, but before that, I want to make a quick announcement. The Accessibility Summer Showcase is a bit of a passion project for me, and it's something that I find a lot of joy in producing.
Mais c'est cool qu'ils mettent la lumière sur ces jeux-là, je trouve.
C'est des jeux que je t'avoue que j'en ai déjà entendu parler, donc pour le coup, oui.
It'll be just like the summer showcase, just happening at the other end of the year. The hope is that we can provide a spotlight for accessible video games whose announcement windows might not line up well with our usual summer event. If you're a developer who would be interested in featuring in the Accessibility Winter Showcase, email laurakbuzzofficial@gmail.com and we can discuss specifics. More official information will be made available in the coming weeks. There's no guarantee that the Accessibility Winter Showcase will return in future years, but I'd like to give it a go and see if it's something that I can publish sustainably.
Je sais pas si t'as vu quoi l'annoncer qu'il y aura un showcase en décembre 2024.
Ouais, c'est toujours ça.
Hey everyone, I'm Darren, the developer of Dawnfolk, a miniature survival city builder about bringing light back to the world. I designed Dawnfolk to be the perfect entryway into the city builder strategy game genre. It's a simple game without complex menus to navigate or endless tutorials. A unique element of Dawnfolk is that you can collect resources by playing small, exciting minigames. But one day, a player contacted me and told me he could not enjoy the game because those minigames required too much button mashing and dexterity. That made me so sad that I quickly updated the demo within the hour with a button to disable the minigames. He was very grateful, and watching him play afterwards really motivated me to add more accessibility features. Unlike most strategy games, Dawnfolk is completely playable with any controller you like. You can also activate haptic feedback to better understand what's happening in the game. Dawnfolk is also a narrative game, where you can reshape the story.
Justement, il a retiré en fait les mini-jeux parce que ça demande trop de contrôle en même temps.
To a more readable one.
Du coup,
you can also open the journal to read previous dialogue entries in case you need a little reminder. There are only a few key information on the screen at any time, and everything is big enough to make sure you can easily read it. The game uses signs, shapes, and high contrast colors, so you can play it whatever type of color blindness you might have. You can also activate a narrator that's gonna read everything for you.
Meadow, forest, plain, tents, wheat field. Awesome, the wheat field produces food every day.
There are tons of audio cues, but you can also perfectly play the game without any sound. Dawnfolk plays in real time, However, no worries, you can pause time whenever you want. The game can be played with different levels of difficulty, and you can save anytime, so don't worry about making a mistake. If you're stuck, Lueur will always come back to you with some advice. There's no jump scares in the game, but you do have a few screen shakes and flashes that you can disable. The game is still in development, and I'll be sure to add more accessibility features in the future. Play the demo on Steam, and let me know what you think. Have fun!
If you're watching on Twitch, stay tuned for a live stream showcasing demos for Fishbowl, Dawnfolk, Magical Delicacy, Cellular City, Periphery Synthetic, and Trash Goblin.
Et ben, c'est sur ça que se termine cette Accessibility Summer Showcase.
Ça s'est fini sur un trailer d'un jeu qui à la base n'était pas prévu pour les personnes à accessibilité. Quand il est en retour, bah du coup il a modifié dès le début et apparemment du coup je suppose qu'il est tenu au courant s'il a ajouté de comment c'est accessible ou pas. Et je trouve que bah c'est plutôt bien de voir que des petits développeurs comme ça s'intéressent comme ça au retour, tu vois. Parce que bah, il aurait pu ne pas le faire et là il l'a fait.
Un bon suivi.
C'est ça.
Et bien en tout cas c'était bien sympa, des bonnes découvertes, bonne petite conférence d'apéritif. YouTube, on va s'arrêter là pour cette conférence. Merci d'avoir suivi. On se retrouve très vite pour la suite du Summer Game Fest. Avec le Summer Game Fest d'ailleurs, la prochaine conférence c'est le Summer Game Fest, le show principal. Merci d'avoir suivi, je vous dis à très vite. Bye tout le monde.